regarding the roster for this 2 matches, CONCACAF Nations League. Number 1, will Gio Reyna be part of the Nations League roster?
Yes. This shouldn't even be a question. It's a fireable offense if he's not. Now, I understand, given the context of everything that's happened, with the report coming out and his parents, the way they look, those are the Reynas. That is Danielle and Claudio Reyna. This is not Gio Reyna. Gio Reyna is a 20-year-old who made a mistake. He still happens to be, by the way, the U.S. men's national team player with the highest ceiling of any player I've seen for quite some time. One of your best players that you have in the program. You don't ostracize this kid for the rest of his life for something his parents did. Gio Reyna right now is a talented player, and the U.S. men's national team don't have the luxury of excluding talented players. Anthony Hudson goes to visit him in Dortmund for a reason. You can say,
manager.
You can say, why is he visiting him? Is he an interim manager? Whatever. Somebody needed to check on the kid, see where he was at, to let him know that what your parents did is what your parents did. That is not you. You have right now an opportunity to change the perception of you in that World Cup. He's a very talented player, and I firmly expect him on that roster.
So, games against Granada and El Salvador, right? So it's not you're not playing for pretty much anything.
How did they do against the Salvador World Cup qualifying?
Fine, but I mean, you're playing for Copa America spot. I mean, again, so not the most crucial games in U.S. soccer history. Aren't you a little concerned with recent news and the report that we just talked about with Jeff Carlisle, that the way the locker room will welcome Gio Reyna, it's not going to be an easy conversation, an easy situation. You being part of locker rooms like that, how do you think, who should be in charge? Who should be the leader? Should there be a conversation? Or you just act like nothing happens, just another player, let's go back, train and play, and that's it? How do you handle that?
You know what players want? They want to win. And Gio Reyna is a player that could help them win. Winning cures all. That is a reality. When Gio Reyna was scoring goals for Borussia Dortmund, guess how many people were talking about the Reynas and their terrible, despicable attitude? Everybody was talking about Gio Reyna.
But, Herc, if you're a veteran player, right? If you're a veteran player, would you demand something from Gio Reyna?
If you're Tim Howard, if you're Clint Dempsey, wait, where are they? No, this group right now needs Gio Reyna. This group fixed or found a solution at the World Cup, and per everything we heard from them, moved on from it. The only ones who did not move on from the situation were the adults in the room. That's how sad this is. Everybody else, this young generation of kids, these 20-year-olds, moved on from the situation. The only ones who did not were the adults in the room. Gio Reyna is a talented player, and I guarantee you this won't be the first time that he's made a mistake or that he will make a mistake. He's 20 years old. Yep. If how you were at 20 years old is the same person you stay today, if that's how people are, we're all in trouble. We're all in trouble. So Giovanni Reyna right now only has to deal with himself. How Giovanni Reyna handles himself. He can't worry about what other players think. And by the way, players, if you're going into that locker room and you're holding anything against Giovanni Reyna because of his parents, you don't understand what the sport's about. You're there to win. It's not the first time that a collection of players have been somewhere and maybe uncomfortable with it.
Okay.
And life goes on, and it won't be the last.
Let me ask you this. Do you believe this locker room, I mean, whatever the roster looks like in the end, is mature enough, big enough, veteran enough to handle that situation? Because you are a veteran dude, right? I mean, you would be the veteran player, but and I agree with you. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying you're right. But my concern is that locker room as mature as you have just exposed the locker room needs to be to welcome Gio Reyna?
They've already proven it. They were the adults in the room when everybody wanted to kick Weston McKennie off the team. They were the adults in the room in the World Cup when they were about to send him home, or when the Reynas went off the rails. They were the adults in the room saying how they disapproved with Greg Berhalter for saying what he did at the symposium. They've been the adults in the room this whole time. So yes, I have faith in that locker room.
Yeah, he's so talented, and they should handle the situation whatever way they need to do it. Question number 2. All right, here we go. Which World Cup snub will be back on Nations League roster? Zach Stefan, Jordan Pifok, or Choo Choo Ricardo Pepi?
This is a good one. All right, I'm taking multiple choices, my man.
No. You can only pick one.
No, well,
Just pick one.
I think it's actually harder if you pick two.
All right.
Let's. First one, all right, go with Ricardo Pepi, because that's the obvious.
That's
one.
obvious, of course.
That's obvious. Ricardo Pepi's got 13 goals in all competitions. My man is on fire.
Yeah.
9 goals, 3 assists in league play. The lone bright spot for Groningen, and they're in relegation zone right now at this moment. He's 3 goals behind Xavi Simons, who's the Golden Boot leader in the Eredivisie. He's going to be there. He's proven that should have never happened. Mm-hmm. He should have been at the World Cup. This man will be there. He's in form. Number 2.
Time out. Who are you taking out then?
What do you mean?
If you're calling up Ricardo Pepi, that means someone has to go. Someone who was a part of the World Cup has to go. Who are you taking out of that list?
Haji Wright's off the list right now. He just started scoring again. I think Haji Wright is the odd man out here. Josh Sargent is still your most talented player. Let me go to the second one. It's not going to be Jordan Pefok. Jordan Pefok, he's lost that form. He's lost that rhythm. He's lost that groove. He needs to find it because he's of that. He's a goal scorer. He will find it. It's Zach Stefan. Now, I know what you're thinking here. It was Greg Berhalter. Zach Stefan was a Greg Berhalter man. He was of his confidence. Had him in Columbus, brought him into the national team fold, made him his number 1. Matt Turner was on this very show, and when we asked him about the choice, the tough decisions that Greg Berhalter had, he made it very clear to us, hey, the difficult games, the marquee games, Mexico, home and away, Canada at home, Costa Rica, those games, they went to Zach Stefan. He understood his role there. So Greg
Even
Berhalter,
though he wasn't playing.
Before the World Cup, had made a very difficult decision. I'm not taking Zach Stefan. The big reason, in his mind, he wanted to show Matt Turner, this is your job, and it's just you. That ain't the case anymore. Greg Berhalter's out of the picture for the time being. He may not come back. All signs and roads point to him not being the next national team manager. And Anthony Hudson's in charge right now. He's got 8 clean sheets right now in the championship. In the last 8 games, he's only let in 5 goals. He's coming into his zone, playing for a very good coach. And I think he's got that chip on his shoulder. And if you're trying to tell me Zach Stefan at this stage of his life is done with the U.S. men's national team, I don't buy it. I think he's another one that you're going to see come back.
I think there's room for both of them, of course. And the situation is just different. Zach Stefan, been the backup keeper at Man City, not seeing minutes, even though, was it you who said that backup keepers, it's okay if they don't play, they can actually perform in the national team? I think it helps.
Well, Matt Turner was a backup keeper.
Right. No, but I mean, Matt Turner now is a backup at Arsenal.
Well, he was
playing cups,
the World Cup.
playing cups. Now I think if both of them are playing, I think Zach Stefan earned the right to be back on the roster.
Right.
I think
Sean Johnson.
And I'm not saying he's going to start. I'm not saying he's going to start, but he has the right to compete for his spot.
Let's look at it really quickly. You can say Ethan Horvath. Okay, make him your number 2 or number 3, however you want to go. Sean Johnson is probably not going to be in the picture anymore because of age. Gaga Slonina is not playing first-team football. Mm-hmm. So all signs point to it has to be Zach Stefan, and he's going to get that redemption shot. It's what he does with it.
All right, question number 3. I like this one. Will we see a dual national on the roster? There you have the options.
Yes, you will see a dual nat on the roster. I fully expect Alejandro Zendejas to be a player called in. Alejandro Zendejas, who's a very interesting prospect. Most people, I should say, see this player as a winger.
Back from injury?
Coming back from injury, he's already back with Futbol Americas. At Futbol Americas, he plays as a winger on the right-hand side, cutting in the left hand or left foot. If you will, that very cultured and majestic left foot. He's a player that when he played in Necaxa, he played in as a dual 6 or as an 8. He's better as a box-to-box midfielder. I think that's going to be his position going forward with the U.S. men's national team. He's a player that I fully expect to be on that roster. He still has not committed. We're going to have to wait and see. Reports have indicated that it may be already a done decision. But I don't think that is the only connection we see. Now, I say connection because if you're U.S. Soccer, you do everything you can to bring Balogun into the program. Folarin Balogun is an exceptional player, an exceptional talent who's having a career year, and he's like 22 years of age. He's scoring at the highest of levels in France. He's chasing the likes of Jonathan David and Kylian Mbappe for the Golden Boot. He's a player that fits into this system on many different levels. Very good with his movement, very fast, good right foot, good left foot, a good sense in or around the box. Do whatever you can to entice him to come into this program. I fully expect there to be conversations and maybe even him on a list. I don't know if he accepts or if he is part of this. I wouldn't until I know where the chips fall. Until I know who the coach is.
That's the main. I mean,
situation.
Exactly. And I think it's a completely different situation with Alejandro Zendejas. I mean, reports even out of Mexico, he already made up his mind. He's going to play for the U.S. It's not that he has to commit. If he wants to play for Mexico, he has to decommit from the U.S. to play for Mexico, switch, yes. Right? Exactly. So, and he hasn't done it. It's
also the way that everything happened. You know very well.
Correct.
Like the Federation really botched this.
Oh yeah, 100%. They had a shot. They had a shot.
They had a shot. Track. They tried making him sign.
Thank you, Tata Martino.
Switch
another one
for the national team. Right before he gets onto the team bus with Futbol Americas to play a playoff game without legal advisement, without anything. They tried manipulating the situation. They botched this, and remains to be seen. But he needs to commit. But this is a good player in that 8 position for me.
Real quick, Brandon Vazquez, Jonathan Gomez
in the mix. I mean, Brandon Vazquez is a unique skill set, size, speed. Very silky feet, combines very well. And Jonathan Gomez is a position of need. I know we saw Kevin Paredes and Caleb Wiley doing their thing this week, but that left back position behind Anthony Robinson is wide open, so yes.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.